This museum has been over 100 years in the making. It is the veterans of the Civil War on the 50th anniversary of the end of the war who began to promote the concept of this museum. African American history, despite the work of Carter G. Woodson and the association, is relegated to the shortest month of the year. Many organizations, in a similar way, marginalize that history as separate from American history. If you look at the history of the United States through an African American perspective, the story doesn't begin with the redcoats are coming. The story begins when the Spanish bring the first free and enslaved people here shortly after 1500 to Florida, to Cuba, to Puerto Rico. It begins when the Danish bring us from Ghana to what we now know as the Virgin Islands, but were the Danish West Indies. It begins when the French bring the first Africans to Louisiana in 1719. The French are trying to grow potatoes in Louisiana, which you know is a pointless venture. So they bring Africans who know how to grow, harvest, irrigate, cure, and cook rice with West African sauces. You cannot understand the creation of Washington, D.C. without realizing that where we're standing right now were plantations in 1792. We know the names of the plantations. We know the names of the owners because those men and women are compensated when the federal government decides to transform this into the city of Washington. We need to know this because less than 200 yards from where you're sitting, Solomon Northrop, 12 years a slave, was captured and enslaved across the street from just behind me here. There were 2 slave pens. The intersection here is 7th Street and Independence. The slave ships came up to a harbor at 7th Street, and the Africans were taken off the ships and walked past where we're sitting to the 2 slave pens 200 feet behind us. And they're kept there until new owners came to purchase them. All of this is hidden history. We're walking in the footsteps of our ancestors, not knowing this history, right here in Washington, D.C. We can look at Richmond, we can look at Raleigh, we can look at Philadelphia and New York through the eyes of the African American experience. It's very different from the eyes of the middle class or upper class white Americans. It's a different experience. And it's so fundamental to America that all children, all adults, all visitors to the United States must understand the key role of African Americans in shaping this country, in making it live up to its creed that all Americans are created equal. It is through our legal struggle, our social struggle, our struggle in many different playing fields, both literally and figuratively, that children have rights now, that women have rights now, that the LGBTQ community has rights now. It's through the struggle that we modeled and used to inspire people around the world of what freedom and equality and equal access can mean.